Good evening and welcome to Low Budget YouTube. Once again, topic of anti-aliasing on 3D prints. So this is a model I believe Dennis Wang created, modified by J3D Tech to test the anti-aliasing voxel lines. There's tons of videos out on this already, so thanks to them for creating this, making my job easier. This is the base one with no anti-aliasing. As you can see, it looks quite terrible, as it is supposed to. I've applied a black ink to this and done a white dry brush that is trying to extrapolate like the worst case scenario of how this thing could look, because when you 3D print miniatures, dry brushing is a very popular technique to use with the slap chop technique to speed paint your minis, but any of these voxelation lines just make that nearly impossible. So with the Saturn 3 that I've been working with, I tried some of my typical settings. This one was 4 pixel 0 gray offset out of Lychee, but it did not do as expected, nor is this camera focusing as expected. Come on. There you go. Looks almost as bad as the base one. So I tried a lot, and I mean a lot, of iterations of these. There's bags of these things littered all over the place. And no matter what settings I used, they all seemed like they were making really terrible prints. It's not smoothing this out at all. It's driving me crazy. And I was reaching out for help to pretty much anybody that would listen on Discord. And I thought, well, maybe it was a Lychee thing. So I tried Chitubox as well, although I primarily use Lychee. And a Chitubox export with the 0 gray blur 2 looked almost as bad as just no anti-aliasing. So I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I was scouring the internet and YouTube, and I happened to rewatch a Faux Hammer video, and he had mentioned a file on his Saturn 3 that was a Chitubox. Now, so far I'd only been using .goo files, so I thought, well, I've tried everything else to figure this out, so let's see if I export and slice out of Chitubox with the same settings, but as a CTB file. And lo and behold, that looks a lot better. I mean, minus these vertical lines and some of the fluff from the paper towels I was using. But this is theoretically the exact same thing as this. .goo file, .ctb file. So I wanted to confirm that. And so I ran it again with a blur of 4, and that one looks incredibly smooth. Like I was really pressing down on the brush to get any sort of flaws to show up on that. And I also wanted to double check with Lychee. Now, Lychee doesn't export currently as a CTB, but if you download UV tools, you can import the goo file and then export as a CTB file. So let me move some of these out of the way. And so, yeah, I went through a slew of different tests here. So these are all Lychee exports. So this is HD on, not on supports, 2 pixels, 0 gray offset. And now we have a smooth, although not 100% perfect, some ripples in there. But again, it's up to, beauty's eye of the beholder. Do you want to potentially lose some of the details on things like lettering or go for smooth surface? So I guess it depends, on what you're printing exactly. But, I did little increments up to 20% gray offset, 40%. So 2 pixel at 40 gray. Still some ripples, still very smooth. This is a 4 pixel 0 gray. These are all HD on slices, by the way. And again, yes, you can see the ripples, but I'm also using a technique, you really can't feel them, intentionally trying to draw out the worst of the worst in these. So that's a 20 gray offset, 4 pixel 40 gray. Oops, sorry if I keep bumping the camera here. And then for fun, I kicked it up to 6 pixels on a couple of these. So this is 6 pixel 0. Yeah. And that is almost flat as a pancake. 0 flaws on that one. And then obviously out to 20% gray offset. Come on, there you go. So you can get the Saturn III non-ultra to obey anti-aliasing. It just apparently won't do it if you have a .goo file, because otherwise your anti-aliasing exports are going to look like that. So hopefully word will get around. Hopefully this is something that can be corrected with a firmware update. But at least there is a workaround. So just putting that out as an FYI. Have a great night.